Let's start today with a question. What would a global nuclear war be like? That's impossible to imagine, of course, but I read a relatively new book recently that attempts to tell us how a nuclear war would start and what it would be like, how it would end. And the author does a terrifying job of it. I think every American, maybe every North Korean, and every Russian ought to read this book. The book is right here. It's called Nuclear War, a Scenario, and it's by Annie Jacobsen. Now, Annie Jacobsen has been appearing in various TV interview shows. I learned about this book on C-SPAN's wonderful book TV on the weekends. I saw it a few weekends ago, and I bought the book for my Kindle. It's also available, as you just saw here, in hardcover, and it's available as an audiobook. Well, Jacobsen's scenario is indeed fictional, but it's based on known facts and dozens of interviews with experts who developed, worked with, and have a measure of control over the United States nuclear arsenal. Jacobsen begins her quite possible scenario with North Korea launching a nuclear missile. Its target, Washington, D.C. Based on her research, and it's extensive, she writes that this is now possible. North Korea sending a nuclear missile all the way from North Korea to Washington, D.C. Now, one of the author's interviews was with physicist Richard Garwin, now 95 and very likely the most knowledgeable expert on nuclear weapons. He was about 24 years old when he designed the first thermonuclear bomb in 1952. This device is also more commonly known as a hydrogen bomb and explodes at 10.4 megatons. That's 1,000 times more powerful as the Hiroshima atomic bomb. The biggest fear that Garman expressed to Jacobsen is that a maniacal, egotistical, narcissistic, madman leader could launch a nuclear weapon for reasons that no one would ever know. And why would we not know the reasons? Because we'd be dead. You see, if somebody like Kim Jong-un launches a first nuclear strike at, say, Washington, D.C., or, as Jacobsen points out in her narrative, a nuclear power plant on the California coast, then the U.S. would retaliate, of course. But for our land-based missiles to reach North Korea, they would fly over Russia. This understandably might be interpreted by the Russians as a U.S. preemptive strike, a first strike on them. They would then follow the policy that both Russia and the United States still have of launch on warning. I got to think about that. Launch on warning. How much time do you think you have to figure that out? About 10 minutes. You can imagine the problem here. North Korea's missile would literally destroy everybody and everything in Washington, D.C. and the entire metroplex. And that nuclear power plant in California would probably be destroyed by a North Korean nuclear submarine. And yes, intelligence on Kim Jong-un having those nuclear submarines is sketchy. But, according to Jacobsen, it's not far-fetched. But you know, once somebody like a madman or a deranged president or Kim Jong-un launches a nuclear missile at another country, there is retaliation, and then deterrence, which has served our planet very well since the 1940s, goes right out the window. But deterrence and launch on warning are policies that are still in place at this very moment. And speaking of launching, the start of a nuclear war is clearly illustrated in a great 1983 movie that I love. It's a favorite, War Games, starring Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy. Barry Corbin, who plays General Jack Behringer, does an excellent job of that. He even adds a touch of humor to a very serious situation that's unfolding in the movie. The beginning of the movie looks like it's set in North Dakota, in a missile launching station that's not far from Minot, North Dakota, a town where I was born. Now that's a good guess because there are ICBM Minuteman missile fields located in just a few states: Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, and in North Dakota, near that Minot Air Force Base. According to recent reports from some Google research I did, there are 150 ICBMs, missiles, surrounding each of the air bases in the states I mentioned, including that Minot Air Force Base. When that scene in the Launch Control Center opens the movie, right away I think of the Missile Control Center that you can visit and take pictures, as I did. This launch control site is located near the rural community of Cooperstown, North Dakota, in the central part of the state, just a bit north of Jamestown. Its code name is Oscar Zero, and when this site was deactivated because of START, that's the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty of 1991. Well, when that was accomplished, when that treaty was signed, the North Dakota Historical Society, God bless them, took it over, and that was a very wise move. And they left this new student and tourist attraction just as it was, way back when it was a live missile site between the years 1966 and 1997. You know, I highly recommend Jacobson's book, and I'm not the only one. If you look at what Forbes magazine said about this, they said it's timeless, it's masterful, a stomach-clenching, multi-perspective, ticking clock, geopolitical thriller. Now, Jacobson expertly delivers a madman's portrait of Armageddon. The book Nuclear War: A Scenario sketches out a global nuclear war with the minute-by-minute precision of all of the 72 minutes between the first missile launch and the end of the world. And that was from Politico. Well, that's about it. If you found this YouTube book review interesting, be sure to hit the like button. And it would be helpful, if you don't want to miss the next one, to hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you next time. Meantime, remember what Michelangelo said at age 87. He said, "I am still learning." So no matter what your age, keep learning. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.